that what I think it is? Leave it covered. Those stars and stripes don't mean nothing good to me.
I need to understand.
You understand. Every black man does.
Isaiah Bradley, Captain America, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Just want to, before I ask my questions about this wonderful character that you got to embody, just want to give you a huge congratulations for the recognition and the accolades that you're getting for portraying the character, not only in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it was so amazing to see your wonderful smiling face on the red carpet premiere for Brave New World. And I know that must have been an incredible night for you, to just see that. And I gotta say, man, you know how to rock a suit. I gotta say, you know how to rock a suit. So whenever I see you on the carpet, man, I'm just like, hey, he got it on. So I was just happy to see you there. In comparison to other characters, we're having a very deep conversation about the history of the Black identity and culture. And of course, Isaiah Bradley has a very deep and resonant history with this country. And the comic, I believe it's called Truth.
Truth.
Yes. That's a very deep story. We talked about how important Martian Manhunter is to you, but in comparison to other characters you've played, how important is Isaiah Bradley to you?
I would say it's, in some ways, it's like asking me which is my favorite child, but at the risk of making the other kids a little jealous, I would say Isaiah is my favorite, and it in many ways, because Isaiah represents me and I represent Isaiah. I in my career have always, initially I wanted to play individuals who I didn't get to see on screens, and I wanted to play characters who I knew men like that, black men like that, but I didn't get to see them. And I knew that there were fathers who stayed with their families. My own father was so much a part of the family. Sometimes I sort of felt oppressed. It's kind of like, oh boy, Dad is a load. If I get through this, I can do anything. He represents for me a kind of manhood and personhood that I wanted to do justice to. Part of Isaiah's story is that at 22, he left his pregnant wife, 4 months pregnant, and went off to serve his country, not only because he wanted to fight against the evils he thought were being perpetrated, but also because he felt, and so many other of the black soldiers who enlisted with him felt certain that this country could not deny them and our people anything after they realized how much we were willing to fight for this country, how much we believed in this country, how much we loved this country. So at that age, a young man in his juice, in his fullness, strong, proud, loving, left his wife, Faith, and the daughter yet unborn to go put himself on the line to bring about something better for the next generation, for those people who would be benefited on both sides, both the black people who would get the opportunity to show themselves and be regarded and appreciated as equal citizens, having sacrificed equally, and for those individuals who didn't know, who were afraid, who were ignorant about that very fact that we are all in this together. So there are aspects of that I think have been a part of my career and my life, things that I felt were important that I wanted to represent. Isaiah is the culmination in many ways of that. I think of Isaiah as having contained power. I know he had the serum, he's incredibly strong, he's really old. We share that. Um, but Isaiah has the power to continue to love. He had the power to protect that piece of his heart that contained faith. And he lives each day of his life with his responsibility to that woman in his heart and in his mind. And whoever, be it woman, man, dog, cat, whoever you feel you have that kind of attachment, that love bond with, you're going to live maybe beyond your own expectation of yourself to represent them in a way that does them justice. Isaiah is there. When he is betrayed by the state, by his country, and he, among other things, has to spend 17 years in solitary captivity, 30 years being experimented on. Why isn't he dead yet? That's basically what these experiments were trying to figure out. Why hadn't this serum that killed so many others, why hadn't it killed him? I think it's a metaphor for me. That the reason it hasn't killed him is, in part, the grace of the universe, the grace of God, the grace of the Creator, wherever you locate that individual. If it hasn't destroyed him, then he's here for a reason. That is how I see Isaiah. Isaiah has something in him that even he may not know all about it. He just knows that it's there. He identifies it as his faith in love, his faith in faith, his belief that things that he has not yet seen might be possible. But he has to be aware of the fact that he lives as a target. So he has a choice to make, and Sam Wilson helps him make that choice. Live imprisoned, even though you're no longer in prison. Live imprisoned in your own mind, in your own fears, in your own doubts, or live free, no matter what. Those are some of the things that I feel I get an opportunity to walk with Isaiah. I think he is a people person. I think I just think he has a really high standard. And so
For good reason.
yeah. And so I love Isaiah. I love Isaiah the way I love all people who are trying to live at the top of their intelligence, whether it be the easiest thing to do or not, and who maintain my sense that love is the most important thing. Love is the connector, and until you lose that, you still have your humanity.
Wow. I feel all of that when you play this character. And one of my friends was telling me that you're his favorite part of Falcon and the Winter Soldier just because of how emotional this role is and how deep it goes. And I tend to agree. You did such a phenomenal job. I mean, one of my favorite moments in all of Marvel history will be at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where Sam takes him. I'm just getting emotional thinking about it. Oh my God, hold on. Oh my gosh, when Sam takes him to see his statue, and he was like, "Now no one will ever forget." And I remember seeing that moment, and I just started weeping. Like, I was like, "This is incredible." Like, this to give Isaiah that moment after everything he's been through, all that torment, all of that pain, for him to live through it, to be with his nephew, to get to see Sam become Captain America, I mean, my God, that just feels like a culmination of so much.
Well,
Both,
I would be remiss if I didn't make a really, really important point from the two gentlemen who wrote Truth to the individual, and there were many of them, but the one that I personally credit, Malcolm Spellman, um, with writing those scenes, not only in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but in the way they brought Isaiah's language to bear. When I auditioned for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I was where you've just found yourself in an audition. I didn't know who it was. They didn't have Isaiah Bradley on the sheet.
of course.
They had a different name because that's how Marvel likes to do it. Um, and so I just saw this text. I just saw this text with this man talking about what happened to him, and it's the I would say it was probably three-quarters of a page. This particular speech, and it took me. It took me. It was simple. It was honest. It was. I had a clear picture of Isaiah from that that passage of text. So I have to credit. I mean, those moments. Yes, I feel privileged that I got an opportunity to play them, but they wouldn't be there, but for the the mind, heart, and soul of writers. And I think the best writers are the best readers. Personal bias. Always go back to reading. Get your
Yes.
book, Joshua.
Yes, I
Um,
will. After
but
this, I got you.
I have to do that, and because that writing also is a process, because you don't just write the first thing and say this is it. Those ideas, that moments like those are lived before you get to live them. So it was my privilege to be trusted with text that was that important and given an opportunity to carry on what I got from that text. So shout out to all writers everywhere, but Marvel writers, Malcolm.
Brave New World is sweeping audiences. It's doing very well at the box office. I got to see that opening night with a few friends. I had a phenomenal time. From a recording standpoint, what were some differences in recording for Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Brave New World? Obviously, of course, in Brave New World, you have a whole fight scene going on right there. So, what were some differences taking it from the smaller screen to the big screen?
I suppose I would say the size of the world on every level. The difference between seeing it on a 60-inch format, if you have a big TV like that, or on your laptop, to seeing it on a screen many times taller than you are, many times wider. So it just made that world larger and um, more encompassing because of how we view movies. I think when if you're watching a television program, you have access to all your treats. If you need to, you can pause and go take care of whatever you need to do and come back, either in a few minutes or maybe the next night. You're in there with the movie for the duration of the time. That 2 hours and 5 minutes or however long it is, um, the two of you are together. And I think it makes the world that you see a world that you can walk in a little more easily. So the power of it on the big screen is, to me, magnitudes greater than on television. I think the other thing that cannot be denied is the action, and I think, and not just the people punching and jumping, but the idea that Sam Wilson as Captain America is utilizing the benefits of technology, of cooperation with other nations. You know, vibranium it's not found here in Illinois. It's a much bigger world that we're given access to. So it kind of proves the point and speaks to the point without having to be didactic or belabor it. It doesn't happen without all of us. It is a big world. And all of us, meaning even those individuals who present those challenges that we have to overcome for the greater good. It's just a much larger impact. And what I will say is also the Marvel Universe, I'm sure the DC Universe would say the same thing. These are very passionate viewers. And they they have there are many of them, and I would say I've done a lot of work over the years. I don't think I've ever encountered this kind of fan base, fan reaction in anything else that I've done, and I'm just glad Isaiah Bradley is big and strong enough to withstand that, because Carl might have to like run away.
Oh man, I get that, man. I'm a Marvel viewer myself, so I get that passion. There was a lot of changes for the Brave New World. Some characters are cut out, some things were added. And of course, that's just the nature of the movie industry. Things get cut, things change all the time. For Isaiah, is your role is your role the same size as it was originally intended, or did they change it, or how how was Isaiah's role different from what you recorded into the final product of what came out?
I can only answer your question by saying Isaiah was huge in 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 everything that I remember doing, because of the way this works, because it is collaborative, and because in some ways it's an assemblage. There are aspects that were edited, some edited in, some edited out, but Isaiah's size never changed. If I'm understanding what you're asking, in other words, Isaiah was a huge part of every iteration of the ones I know about and the ones I don't know about.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, I asked that question really bad. Yeah, what I was just saying was like, how important was Isaiah to each version of Brave New World? What's so interesting is that Brave New World leaves Isaiah in a very interesting position in terms of how he opens up to the world. Is there anything you hope they do with Isaiah moving forward?
There's everything I hope they do with Isaiah moving forward. In my mind, in my backstory, Isaiah could be doing anything from work at his gym to outreach to homeless encampments to teaching Pilates, going fishing. I just don't know. I think everything is available to him in terms of possibility, and I think um, it it's a matter of choices.
Do you
It
think you could ever see him pick up the shield?
I don't know how heavy it is. Um, it's I rarely speculate about what I think might happen with a character. I love this cat, and I loved doing it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, loved doing it here in Brave New World. And should it happen, I would be very happy to do it again. But if it does not happen, I sit very proudly with Isaiah as a new friend. and someone who I got an opportunity to walk with. And I still like to take long walks.
Beautiful, man. We need you back. I love you so much as this character,
Oh
and I'm
man,
glad
thank you
that
so much, man.